The case is said to be mentioned Wednesday for further directions. Ruth Huamboy for Prime Edition.
From that item now, let's move on. 4 people have been confirmed dead and 8 others are fighting for their lives in various medical facilities in Migori County after consuming what's suspected to be poisonous brews. The 4, who include a distiller, a seller, succumbed to the brew while undergoing treatment at Sanjoman Hospital, that's in Mabera area of the Kuria West, where they were rushed by well-wishers. Locals claim that the dead were among a group of revelers who were on a drinking spree overnight, only to experience breathing as well as talking, or rather speech difficulties. They are now appealing to authorities to crack hard on illicit brews said to be rampant in the area.
Fika dakika hii saa 10 watu wanne wameenda, wanaume 3 na mama mmoja ambao wamesha kufa tayari, wako katika mochari. Walikunywa jana usiku jioni kuamkia leo. Sasa usiku huo ndio wakaanza kufurugana na hao, wakaanza ambao walikufa usiku, yeye alikufa usiku wa kwanza. Wa pili akufa mapema leo kitu kama saa 2, watatu wamekufa saa 4. Sasa hivi watano ndio wamekufa, wanne ndio wamekufa saa 7 ya mchana.
Kweli Kenya, ningeomba serikali ingetuondolee hii mambo ya pombe kabisa, wasiwa wanachukua hongo, huwa wakatae kabisa.
So today in the morning around 2 a.m. we received a referral from Bugumbe Health Center of a patient who had difficulty breathing, so referred to a facility with a history of suspected alcohol intoxication. Okay, but unfortunately on arrival the patient was pronounced dead. So it was an isolated incident by that time. So unfortunately in the morning around 8 a.m. we got other multiple cases coming in. So now we notice is an outbreak.
Let's now shift gears and move into the space of politics. The Azimio la Umoja One coalition is now blaming what it claims to be an unbearable cost of living to the hike in taxes. The coalition led by Raila Amolo Odinga says that it will rally Kenyans for a signature collection exercise during a meeting on Friday to be held at Kamkunji right here in the capital city, Nairobi. Why? To have the tax increment reversed. Here's that report.
La Umoja One coalition led by their leader Raila Odinga claims it will not stay mum as the cost of living in the country goes beyond the roof. Raila cites what he alleged to be a threat of 30% increase in fares as a motivating factor to rally Kenya to collect signatures to reverse the trend.
We are here to announce that our Kamkunji meeting is on in Nairobi this Friday as we had announced. But it is not just a Kamkunji in Nairobi, but a Kamkunji across the country where this third liberation will be launched.
Azimio notes that it will engage in its protests within the confines of the law and advocates for a peaceful means of agitating for its demands.
The only weapon that we have in our hands is our sovereign power to picket, to protest, boycott, and to begin this on Friday, July the 7th.
The coalition added that the time has come for Kenyans to unite in one cause and exercise their constitutional right to point out when things are wrong. Michael Muniga for Prime Edition.
President William Ruto has said that his administration will endeavor to work with leaders from all parts of the country, regardless of their political affiliation, in a move aimed at achieving development and the country's prosperity. Speaking Tuesday at State House, Nairobi, during a meeting with a section of the legislators from Nyanza region, the head of state said the Kenya Kwanza government will strive to have a legacy that will be remembered for years by serving all Kenyans fairly and equitably. The leaders discussed the status of government programs and projects that are currently ongoing in that region. Very well, that story brings us to our first break right here on Prime Edition. Don't go away. We'll be back with much, much more.
of the delegates. That there were delays in releasing the list of the delegates. That took a long time until late afternoon. We believe that that was a deliberate attempt to deny the people, the genuine delegates, an opportunity to vote. I'm an old-serving member of KANU. I'm addressing the disease that has existed in KANU, which we saw it blatantly being committed at Kasarani.
Biggest odds in the world every day on selected matches. Make a decision. Mozart Bet.
Kiswahili kitukuzwe.
Ubunifu wa kukariri na kughani mashairi.
Enyi wema wanafunzi, nawapa jema shauri. Kukimbilia mapenzi shuleni ni hatari.
Mgonjwa hupata tiba, mdaku hupata nini?
Hawa wanafunzi ni madijitali.
Tamakenzi anatuhumia wafuasi wake kufunga kwa muda mrefu kiasi cha wao kukonda na kungonda kimbaumbao mwiko wa pilao.
Ni mnoma, siku moja nitakuhelp. Hata mimi.
Tunapata maudhui ya utu kwa kuwa umu anamsaidia hazina.
Ni vyema pia tunapochambua vile vitabu ukapata mifano zaidi ya moja.
Matarajio yetu ya kufaidika kutokana na hazina hii yanaenda tenge na kusababisha hali ya uchumi kupanda.
Kiswahili kitukuzwe.
What you have done to me is despicable.
And what? Well, I think it's time for me to leave this house. Hello?
Who is dying, Fermina?
Alonso is dying in the hospital. He's dying, Remigio. Well, they just called to tell me Alonso is in the hospital in serious condition, Daddy.
Las Malditas.
Welcome back. Hearty moments right here in the studio, but we're excited that you are also tuned in our socials at KBC Channel 1. My Twitter handle is @Mboya24 if you want to engage with us. Let's swing to the next item now. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says that government will implement comprehensive measures to improve safety on Kenyan roads and avert loss of lives. Gachagua said losing 5,000 lives to road accidents every year only was not acceptable at all, promising the rollout of quick intervention measures that will ensure better use of roads right across the country to reduce road carnage.
Speaking in Londiani Town, Kericho County, during interdenominational prayers for the families who lost their loved ones in a tragic accident at Londiani Junction last Friday. The Deputy President said President William Ruto has directed the Ministry of Roads and Transport to develop regulations to cut reckless usage of the roads and improve safety of users.
The public sector, ya matatu na mabus na malori, has been chaotic. It is true the late John Michoki attempted to do a very good job, and you must emulate him, but do it differently using now technology.
He said the measures will be instituted in a bid to return order in the transport industry, asking for support from all stakeholders.
President and I and the rest of us in coming up with practical interventions and solutions to bring sanity on our roads.
While condoling with the bereaved families, Gachagua pledged government support, saying it was tragic to lose so many lives through such an accident.
Mumeomba ya kwamba serikali pia isaidie kwa maneno ya mazishi kwa hao 52 families, pia na wale ambaye wamejeruhiwa wako katika hospitali. Na ningetaka kutangaza ya kwamba Rais amepeana directive ya kwamba tutasaidia.
Roads and Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen said the government was formulating regulations that will make the roads in the country safer.
This is going to be a big political conversation. Wabunge hapo wanaongea wanasema tuokoe watu wetu, tuokoe watu wetu. Wananchi wanasema mtuokoe. Sasa shoka ya kutoka barabarani ikifika, I want to ask every one of us to give our Kenya National Highway and all the roads agencies a maximum support to make sure that our people are going to operate safely.
Timothy Kipnoso for Prime Edition.
Political theatrics continue to dominate the process of selection of commissioners to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. This is after the Azimio allied legislators snubbed a meeting convened by the co-chair of the Joint Bipartisan Committee, George Murugara. Murugara has since given the nod to the selection panel to begin the process of recruiting the new commissioners to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Opposition leader Raila Odinga has, however, scoffed at the move, maintaining that the selection process must be all-inclusive. Give us, Maina, with the details of the political power plays.
Tuesday morning at the Bomas of Kenya, Azimio allied MPs made good their threat and skipped the meeting convened Monday by the co-chair of the Joint Bipartisan Dialogue Committee, George Murugara. However, their absence did not deter the continuation of the meeting, in which it was agreed the selection panel proceed with the process of recruiting commissioners to the electoral body.
As far as Kenya Kwanza is concerned, that issue is now vacated due to the non-communication and non-attendance of Azimio to these talks.
Murugara faulted Azimio legislators for lack of commitment in unlocking the stalemate that has continued to delay the process of fully constituting the electoral body.
They have always accused the Kenya Kwanza side of lack of good faith, but as you can see, it is clearly demonstrated that it is Azimio that has no interest and good faith.
The move by Murugara, given the nod for recruitment of commissioners, has however not augured well with the opposition.
IEBC is a national institution which is supposed to preside over elections. And these are not Kenya Kwanza elections. They're national elections, they are competition.
Opposition Chief Raila Odinga has maintained the process of recruiting IEBC commissioners must involve all the political players for credibility.
They even refused to stop that task force from proceeding ahead. The task force has said that they never stopped. They have never been told to stop at all. So they basically were just playing a game with us.
It is now a game of wait and see what next for the selection panel as the political players continue to lock horns in a seemingly dance of musical chairs. Give us in Minor, Prime Edition.
Now, opinion remains divided on what next for the executive following the Monday ruling by the High Court declaring the appointment of the 50 chief administrative secretaries unconstitutional. Now, while the defense lawyers hinted at the possibility of moving to court of appeal to challenge the decision, what really are the legal options that are available to them? Our reporter, Nancy Okware, had a sit-down with Elkanah Mokua, is an advocate of the High Court, and brings us details of the legal options on the table.
Legal experts opine all is not lost for the executive following the Monday judgment by the High Court.
Sisi ni Wakenya kama wale wengine. Sisi pia tuna haki ya kushiriki katika mambo ya kitaifa. Tutakwenda katika mahakama ya rufaa na tuna uhakika. We are very convinced that we will be successful.
We are going to study very carefully the decision that was made today with a view to moving to the Court of Appeal.
Elkanah Mokua, an advocate of the High Court, says the executive has two options. One is to move to the Court of Appeal and challenge the decision. According to Mokua, should they opt for this route, there is a laid-down procedure that must be followed, complete with timelines.
If, however, they choose to go to the Court of Appeal and further to the Supreme Court, we might have a situation where government business is ground to a halt over the next 6 months to a year. But that is on the onus of the president. He's the one to tell us the direction. They have 14 days from yesterday to go collect the proceedings, prepare their documents, and go to the Court of Appeal and justify why it is they required 50 and not 23.
However, Mokua notes the seemingly easiest way out would be for the executive to go back to the drawing board and explore option B.
He can respect the law as has been declared at the High Court, go back to the drawing board, select the 23 he needs most to proceed. It is the shortest route out. If his administration is to go over this as a speed bump and be back at work in the next 4 to 8 weeks, they can go and reappoint the correct number of CASs.
In a landmark ruling, the High Court on Monday ruled there was need for public participation in the appointment, even as it singled out the number of chief administrative secretaries appointed was higher than the 22 cabinet secretaries provided for in the Constitution. Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
Now, the Principal Secretary, State Department of Sports, Peter Tum, now says that he was not involved in the irregular procurement of a 3.7 billion shillings long-lasting insecticidal nets by the Kenya Medical Supply Authority, Kemsa. PS Tum, who appeared before the Senate Health Committee, said that the State Department of Medical Services he served under handled the HIV function, while the State Department of Public Health and Professional Standards, which was under former Health Principal Secretary Dr. Josephine Mburu, handled malaria, TB function, and the procurement of the nets. As Abdiaziz Hashim reports, involved individuals are yet to be apprehended in the scandal that could have cost the taxpayer billions of Kenyan money.
The blame game over which Principal Secretary was involved in the bungled 3.7 billion shillings procurement of the long-lasting insecticidal nets by the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority, Kemsa, has taken a new twist.
The role of Kemsa was squarely on your department. As far as the malaria procurement was concerned, was there any role that your department played whatsoever?
Chair, let me come back again to what I said. We didn't have any role.
This is after the Principal Secretary, State Department of Sports, Peter Tum, absolved himself from the irregular procurement of nets that cost the taxpayers billions of shillings. Initially, former Health Principal Secretary Dr. Josephine Mburu claimed Tum, who served as the PS of the State Department of Medical Services between the 2nd of December 2022 and the 16th of May 2023, played a key role in the procurement process of the net through Global Fund, a notion Tum disputed.
The PS has come and said it was Engineer Tum who was involved. Terry Ramadan says the CS directed that they can only communicate it to Engineer Tum. Engineer Tum is here with us today and he's saying, I had no role. So I'm just asking.
Who was involved?
Exactly.
If I'm asked who was involved, I might not really be sure, because I think the reason then we are sitting here is just to find out what happened.
Despite the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, investigating the matter, and the Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakhumicha making changes at Kemsa, no arrests have been made so far, those involved prosecuted. Abdiaziz Hashim for Prime Edition.
Halo? Hello, Mike uko wapi? Kwa karibu kwanza Harambe. Tunajua mali John anaishi nyumba iliporomoka. Ana chochote.
Niliambia John hame kitambo sana. Hiyo nyumba haikujengwa vizuri. Ilikuwa na crack mwezi wa pili.
Tumsaidie. Alipoteza kila kitu. Fridge hadi patipati. Hata anaishi kwangu. Kwanza anatumia curtains kama blanketi.
Hata huko na engineer.
Juu ya kujaribu kusave shilingi 2, amepoteza life savings zake zote.
Kabla ya kuanzisha mradi wowote wa ujenzi, unatakiwa kusajili mjengo wako na NCA. Wasilisha ramani zilizoidhinishwa na ratiba ya wataalamu wa ujenzi utakaohusisha wakiwemo kontrakta na mafundi waliyesajiliwa na NCA. Wajibika. Jenga haki, epuka hasara, okoa maisha. Jenga haki na NCA.
Cheza Loto Moto. Sasa unaweza jishindia instantly na Loto Moto. Dial star 570 hash. Wakati wowote, siku yoyote ya wiki na mahali popote. Dial star 570 hash. Kisha chagua moja kati ya games za Loto Moto. Weka stakes zako 50 shillings, 300, 500, 2,000 shillings. The bigger your stake, the greater or the bigger your prizes. Cheza mara kadhaa na kumbuka, cheza responsibly. 18 years and above. Cheza Loto Moto.
Welcome back. Friends of the environment are calling for the reinstatement of the ban on logging barely 2 days after President William Ruto lifted the 6-year ban. Led by Green Thinking Action Party leader Dr. Isaac Kalua, environmentalists cautioned the move could compromise the gains in afforestation. This comes as a section of sawmillers have hailed the move, pledging to work with government in increasing the forest cover.
The decision by President William Ruto to lift the logging ban appears to have raised concern from a section of environmental conservationists, with the Green Thinking Action Party leader Dr. Isaac Kalua calling on the head of state to rethink about his decision.
When in 2018 the logging of this the logging was stopped in our country, we had 3 failed seasons of rain. Today we have 5 failed seasons. It means we are in a worse situation than what we were in earlier on. I therefore appeal to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, to kindly reconsider what we are talking about, based specifically on scientific processes, the importance of the people of this country, understanding and appreciating that the forest is all what we have.
On one hand, environmentalists are crying foul, warning the move will erode gains in afforestation and have negative effects on the climate.
You can't go ahead milking a cow and you can see now that the cow is already producing blood, and you continue milking, you would be an insane person. You have to stop and reevaluate and then proceed from that point of view.
GITA Party leader Dr. Isaac Kalua is instead calling for the establishment of a forest regulatory body to oversee legal logging.
People living in Elbagon and Molo areas that can be encouraged to have sustainable livelihoods out of protection, as opposed to just clearing the trees and getting to mess up. The water that we need in our country is exceptional.
But as environmentalists express concern, sawmillers in Mount Kenya region are a happy lot. The millers say they have suffered great losses in the last 6 years.
Sasa tunafurahia juu kazi imerudi. Tena kwa msituni tunaomba kama serikali italeta hiyo miti na watu wakate miti vizuri, na pia watu wapande miti ndio polisi zetu zirudi pia sawa.
Additionally, they have pledged to work with government to safeguard the sanctity of forests and practice responsible logging.
Wakati kulifungwa nilikuwa nateseka sana. Yaani hata ukitafuta kibarua upati, lakini saa hii nimepata, ninashukuru sana.
Timothy Kipnoso for Prime Edition.
Very well, before we usher in the scorecard team at the tail end of this live broadcast to interrogate the universal health care and look at issues around whether we have gained ground in the right direction, we will be looking at the second part of the Shamba system renaissance with Frederick Parsayo. Remember, last night we aired the first part, and tonight he's going to bring the second part looking at those plantations that he toured in Elgeyo Marakwet, in Uasin Gishu, and also in Trans Nzoia counties. Now, the National Police Service Commission Chair, Eliud Kinuthia, has accused the Inspector General of Police, Japheth Koome, of sabotaging his efforts to have the police force perform its duties optimally. The Commission Chair, who appeared before the Senate Security and Defense Committees, allege the IG further violated the law in the recent promotion of 514 officers in various police cadres. The Commission Chair further told the committee that the matter now appears to be headed back to the courts following the deadlock in the regularization of the promotions as advised by the Interior Cabinet Secretary. Kinuthia added that the Commission has since advertised 514 positions whose application deadline is slated for the 14th of July this year. In June, Inspector General Koome initiated the promotions and forwarded names to the National Police Service Commission for ratification and action. However, the Commission not only declined to act on the notice of promotion, but also nullified the said promotions.
How do we reconcile this? Because the Constitution has given you that power for promotion, but the consumer of the services of that staff is the command in the police. I find it so difficult now to really achieve a fair promotion because the Constitution gives you the power to promote, but the consumer of the service of the officer is with the command. What is your thinking about this?
You say that you tried to invite the Inspector General in your office so that you can be able to delegate to him, according as per the Constitution, the roles to appoint and to recruit. Do you have any document to show that the Inspector General that refused to attend
commission meeting of the first commission meeting after he was appointed? The agenda paper was a delegation instrument. He did not show up. We told him, how are you going to operate without a direction from this commission? The answer can be as good as mine. 2, there is evidence and evidence that we have invited him for 2 induction meetings at Kenya School of Government, where we would agree politely, now that you have come in office, how do we move around this issue that you must do, that your powers is limited? Again, he has not shown on any. So if we are to put evidence clearly on the cooperation part of it, believe me, we have more than sufficient evidence on these areas. Whenever there is an agenda which they feel they don't like, and there is that privilege of 2 of them have to be present, they run away. I have record that has been a trend. They run away so that the meeting doesn't take off.
The Kenya National Highways Authority and National Land Commission are on the spot for delays in compensating the private lands where road projects are being constructed. National Assembly Leader of Majority now wants Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen to rein in on the KENHA's Director General for alleged ineptness. The National Assembly Petitions Committee will consider a petition seeking compensation of persons affected by road dualling project in Jomvu constituency. Here's that report.
A petition by Jomvu MP Badi Twalib seeking compensation of persons affected by a road construction project in Jomvu placed the performance of Kenya National Highways Authority on the spot.
KENHA, who should be providing the funds, has failed. And I have no fear in saying we have a very inept Director General of KENHA, completely inept.
MPs led by Leader of Majority Kimani Ichung'wah accusing the Director General KENHA of ineptness.
CS Kipchumba Murkomen, must either take up the work of the DG Kenha or act on the DG Kenha to make sure that he does his work in accordance with the law.
And the majority himself is condemning today Kenha here in the House, Madam Speaker. We just have to clap for him. We cannot oppose him.
The MPs from across political divide also took issue with the National Land Commission for allegedly conniving with the road agencies to cause delays in compensation of persons affected by road constructions despite having evicted the persons.
Urgently intervene to compel the National Land Commission to compensate project-affected persons fairly and in accordance with actual value of their assets.
There is a collusion between the Land Commission and the Kenya, especially even on issues of land valuation.
Meanwhile, community health workers now want the Salaries and Remuneration Commission to determine a fair remuneration for them.
Pia ukiangalia katika section 10 ilikuwa kuna changes pia tutaka ziweko kama stipend iwe replaced sasa na a fair pay.
National government imeweka 2,500 na county government iweke 2,500, yote iwe 5,000 so that community health promoters waweze kupata kitu.
The community health workers spoke when they presented their input on Community Health Services Bill to the National Assembly Health Committee. Gishok Washira, Prime Edition.
Africa needs to embrace green energy as opposed to fossil fuel. Climate activists say that through decarbonization and proper utilization of green energy, the continent of Africa will evade climate change calamities, which is hugely attributed to fossil fuel.
Doing away with the consumption of fossil fuel dominated the third edition of Climate Justice Summit, which has brought together activists and scholars from all over the world.
The new economies invest in renewables and low-carbon development pathways, and that's where our countries should go.
According to the Africa Energy Chamber Report 2023, almost 80% of the energy consumed in sub-Saharan Africa is generated from fossil fuel.
We need to tackle the root cause of this, which is the increasing amount of greenhouse gases that we are emitting in the atmosphere.
How has it contributed to global warming?
These greenhouse gases, now they absorb this energy and they store it. And then the average temperature on the earth, it increases.
This comes amid calls of transitioning to green energy by maximizing the underutilized natural resources endowed in Africa.
Africa overall has significant potential for contributing to the world decarbonization by tapping into the renewable energy potential that our continent has.
Opicha Chemtai for Prime Edition.
Aviator instant game. Be a daring pilot and earn by how much high you can lift the plane. The higher you fly, the higher your win. The sky is the limit. Mozart Bet.
Ujue ukilainika kidogo, sote tuko shidani.
Hawa watu walionibia hizi pesa nikiwapata watakoma kuzaliwa.
So huu usiku ulipotoka, una uhakika hukumwona kumbe?
Itakuwaje ufanyikazi wako awe na kuita kwa jina la Malikia wangu, ili hali yeye ni mfanyikazi? Wajua wale jamaa huwa ni kama majibu wa kunusa, huwa hawakosei.
A very good evening to you. Thank you for watching Prime Edition. Time to get the latest in the world of business. My name is Betty Kiptum. Now, Elgon Kenya is calling on the government to contract more companies to distribute the subsidized fertilizer to smallholder farmers. Elgon Kenya Managing Director Bimal Kantaria says a number of fertilizer companies have installed modern blending equipment and should be engaged to ensure smallholder farmers get the chemical on time.
The National Treasury allocated 4.5 billion shillings for the fertilizer subsidy program in the current financial year in efforts to lower the cost of food production. Agri-input supplier Elgon Kenya believe contracting more fertilizer producers in the subsidy program will fast-track distribution of the chemical.
This year is going to be a bumper harvest for maize. It's been a wonderful year. We have good rain and good fertilizer, right price. So I think this year is going to be a good year for food prices to come down. So that we commend government. The only problem we have now is that fertilizer prices internationally have come down to such a level. They were 2019 and 2018. So we're asking government that if they can stop distributing through KNTC and NCPB, but use the 10,000 agrovet shops that are out there so that everybody gets a piece of the pie.
Kantaria says 9 more fertilizer companies have fitted their production plants with modern blending equipment and have capacity to blend fertilizer.
The second one is that instead of awarding the tender to 2 or 3 companies, there are now 9 fertilizer blending companies in this country, brand new, spent about 1 billion shillings in new machinery. If that government business can be spread to all the players in the industry so that everybody can benefit from the government subsidy program.
The government says it has started putting in place modalities including setting a minimum buying price for the next maize harvest that is expected in a month's time.
The commitment is once this harvest is done, the cost of unga will come down to levels that Kenyans have not experienced in the past 10 years.
Linturi says the government is in the process of operationalizing the strategic food reserve and strengthening the warehousing receipt system to facilitate faster payment for maize deliveries to the National Cereals and Produce Board depots.
Confident the farmers will make better money from whatever maize they grow now compared to the latter years, because remember, I have been able to cut the cost of production by over 50%, because when they were growing maize in those other years, they were doing fertilizer at 7, so I brought it to 35. That will make a lot of difference in terms of profit.
They were speaking in Nairobi during the 3rd edition of the National Agriculture Summit. Benson Druba reporting for Prime Edition.
And Pan-African online distribution startup Kiosk has completed the acquisition of Quick Basket in a move aimed at consolidating its business. The company, which operates in Uganda, Kenya, Nigeria and Tanzania, says it will invest in system upgrades and aggressive marketing to enlist more traders on its platform.
Lack of access to the market, post-harvest losses and inefficient retail distribution have been highlighted as major hurdles facing small and medium farmers in the country. However, to address the challenges, various initiatives have been put in place by agricultural financial stakeholders in a bid to offer agro-input advisory solutions. Kiosk, an online distribution platform, will now source for farmers and distribute their products following the acquisition of Quick Basket. Kiosk co-founder Rafael Afeda says through the platform, farmers will get timely access to inputs and help address the retail distribution of their farm's produce.
What we didn't have was the competence to be able to get fresh produce, handle it properly and take it to customers, which is exactly the kind of competence that Quick Basket has built. So now by bringing Kiosk and Quick Basket together, we should be able to enable farmers to get their outputs to market, because Quick Basket has that competence and we have the scale and ability to deliver many orders in a day.
The e-commerce platform has now rebranded its agricultural division from Kiosk to KeyFresh and will be linking farmers to distributors across 4 African nations, Nigeria, Uganda and Tanzania included.
Ningependa kuencourage wale farmers wengine waendelee na kulima kwa sababu kuna soko na kuna watu wanaitwa kiosk wenye wametuunganisha na soko na ni watu friendly.
Frederick Mwoki for Prime Edition.
And asset financing fintech Migori Auto Limited says it plans to support thousands of self-employed entrepreneurs operating as motorbike and tuk-tuk taxi riders with greater economic empowerment and asset ownership opportunities. The firm says this will be powered by a 985 million shillings investment by Verdant Capital for onward lending to micro, small and medium enterprises. The cash will mainly be channeled into expanding Migori Auto Limited's portfolio of motorbikes, tuk-tuks and motor vehicle financing. Moving on to other news, national carrier Kenya Airways has rescheduled some flights due to adverse weather conditions impacting turnbacks and diversions on the runway. KQ says the adjustments were necessary due to unscheduled technical maintenance for 3 of their aircrafts. In an official statement, KQ notified passengers regarding changes to their flights between Monday, July 3rd and Wednesday, July 5th, with the national carrier assuring passengers that regular flight operations would resume on Thursday, July 6th, 2023. Affected passengers will receive further communication from the airline once normal operations are restored. And that's all the business we had for you this evening. But of course, Prime Edition continues. Sports news is coming up. Daniel Wahome is on the other side of the studio, standing by to give you that just after this short break. From the business desk, my name is Betty Kiptum. Good night.
The cup with the golden ticket. Mozart Bet Cup, 2 million shillings. CAF Confederations Cup. Kuwa mshindi. Mozart Bet Cup.
Welcome to Prime Edition Sport. My name is Daniel Wahome. The government of Kenya has set the ball rolling on the rallying school in Kenya that will see more than 50 Kenyan drivers get the training and a chance to compete at a level of the World Rally Championship, the WRC. The school is expected to start the training of more than 50 rally drivers this year in a build-up to a better WRC Safari Rally Kenya 2024.
Just about 15 drivers competed in this year's WRC Safari Rally Kenya, with the best Kenyan placed driver Carl Tundo finishing 11, a position Cabinet Secretary for Sports Ababu Namwamba believes can be bettered in 2024 and the years to come.
His Excellency the President announced the launch of the first ever rallying school in Kenya. And I'm happy to announce that we have already put everything in place to roll out Kenya's rallying school as part of the Kenya Academy of Sports.
In addition to making the WRC Safari Rally Kenya 2024 bigger and better by opening the rallying school in Kenya, CS Namwamba has instructed the Kenya Motorsport Federation to ensure that the closing ceremony is done at the end stage of the WRC Rally Kenya.
Stop moving people from Hell's Gate to Service Park. Where the rally ends, we finish all the awards there.
Sebastian Oje won the 2023 Safari Rally Kenya. The second win is secured in Kenya, having also emerged victorious in 2021, the year the Kenyan leg got back to the World Series.
I want to appreciate KBC, who have been our broadcast partners for this rally, and we are building a partnership with KBC. And we want to thank you for the work you have done to keep this whole momentum going. Asanteni sana.
Kale Rovanpera finished second behind Oje, having missed out on a chance to win back-to-back titles after lifting the Kenyan title in 2022. Rovanpera, however, tops the series standings this season with 140 points, 41 points ahead of Elfin Evans, with Oje sitting third on equal 98 points with fourth place Ot Tanak heading to Estonia mid this month, which is the 8th stop of the series. From Estonia, drivers will head to Finland, Greece, Chile, Central European and end the season in Japan in November.
Now, Kenya's Cynthia Wanjala has qualified to the quarterfinals of the Harambee International Junior Tennis Tour, which entered day 2 at the Nairobi club. The tournament has attracted 68 players from over 20 countries across the globe.
Cynthia Wanjala will represent Kenya in the quarterfinals of the ITF World Tennis Tour after defeating Serbia's Mia Milizavijevic 6-3, 6-4. Another Kenyan, Nancy Kawira, lost 6-1, 6-3 to Algeria's Farah Heda. Other players who have qualified to the last 8 include Tanzania's Shana Martin and India's Javier Sawa. In the men's round of that two, Kenyan Baraka Ominde lost 6-2, 4-6, 6-4 to India's Om Verma, while his compatriot Monene Muondu lost to Patel Maulik of India 6-love, 6-love.
The players are here to qualify and get points to get ITF World Ranking points. Yes, to help them with their ranking and also to move to the next level, which is the men's or the women's senior.
I'm still not used to the surface of the court. I was able to keep my cool and just keep the ball on the court. And I tried to be as consistent as I could.
Hopefully I do take it, but we're going to see how it goes, and I hope I'm there and I do everything how I'm supposed to do and I do everything 100%, so yeah.
The men's round of 16 will be held tomorrow at the same venue, while the quarterfinals for both girls and boys will take place on Thursday. For Prime Edition, I'm Fred Njogu.
Well, thank you, Fred Jogu, for that story. Keeping with tennis, is our defending champion Elena Rybakina recovered from a poor start to avoid a Wimbledon first-round exit against American Shelby Rogers. Spain's world number 1, Carlos Alcaraz, comfortably defeated Jeremy Chaudet, while Andy Murray maintained his record of never losing in the first round with a victory over fellow Briton Ryan Peniston. Let's get the Wimbledon report.
Defending champion Elena Rybakina struggled to record a Wimbledon first-round win of American Shelby Rogers. The Kazakh, whose title defense began with a double fault, won 4-6, 6-1, 6-2. Her build-up had been hampered by illness, and she lacked energy against the world number 49 at the start. But there was a dramatic shift in momentum as Rybakina avoided becoming the first women's defending champion since 1994 to lose at this stage. Spain's world number 1 Carlos Alcaraz gained a comfortable first-round win against Jeremy Chardy, who played the final singles match of his career. Alcaraz, the reigning US Open champion, needed less than 2 hours to secure a 6-love, 6-2, 7-5 victory on court 1.
Well, thank you very much for being with us on Prime Edition Sports. I know the scorecard is coming up next, but before I leave, I want to wish a happy birthday to the man on the main seat, Tom Mboya. Happy birthday, Tom. Okay, so Amos, you ain't picking Tom with his laughter. It's happy birthday, Tom.
TV.
I think I'll just let Muhika, O'Brien, and Marie Yambo to continue that story. But happy birthday, Tom.
Thank you. Thank you. By the way, I'm the only one who calls Daniel Wahome the Holmes, and one day I'll explain why I call him the Holmes. Thank you, Daniel.
Revenge.
I'll make sure I don't count the candles on the cake. I'll basically just eat the cake. I'll just eat the cake.
Well, that's it from the sports, and happy birthday, Tom. And O'Brien Kimani and Marie Yambo are coming up next with the scorecard. It's a normal Tuesday operation. Have a good evening.
The cup with the golden ticket. Mozart Bet Cup, 2 million shillings. CAF Confederations Cup. Kuwa mshindi. Mozart Bet Cup.
Well. We have to bring the curtains down on this live broadcast. And you know what? It's always a pleasure to have you tuned in. And I want to, on behalf of the back-end team, I want to sincerely thank all of you for choosing KBC Prime Edition as your channel of choice for the news. I can see my colleagues. I don't know what they're up to.
It's a special day.
What are you up to? Walking to the set. Oh, by the way, that's a surprise, eh? That's a surprise. Oh, there you are. I can see you.
Happy birthday.
Well,
thank you.
That, it's your birthday.
Yes, it is.
Do you want to sing a happy birthday to him?
No, my voice is not as good as Tom's.
Can I try it?
Yeah, why not?
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tom. Happy birthday to you.
How old are you?
Should he ask you how old you are?
Yeah, there's a line on that song. How old are you? How old are you? But listen, I've been around and I feel strong, and I thank the man up there for
keep on growing,
keep
on glowing.
Aging backwards.
All right, good. We have to go to the.
All right, no problem. Absolutely. All right, thanks, guys. Thank you. Well, of course, that brings it to the end. My name is Mboya. Remember, scorecard is coming up in just a bit. But before I let you go, remember, yesterday we brought you a story about the communities that are living around the plantations and indigenous forests. And those communities have enrolled to a community-based organization dubbed Community Forest Association, or CFA if you like, where they enjoy 12 user rights. The rights include grazing, beekeeping, fisheries, firewood, pruning rights, ecotourism, and also plantation established and livelihood improvement scheme. Our reporter, Frederick Parsayo, took time to go and tour those plantations where they're located in Elgeyo Marakwet, in Uasin Gishu, and also in Trans Nzoia counties, and established that the plantation establishment and livelihood improvement scheme, or PELIS if you like, as the most beneficial right. So I'm going to leave you with our second part of that report as I rush to the house to enjoy my cake. Good night.
Plantation Establishment and Livelihood Improvement Scheme, PELIS, is a forest governance by Kenya Forest Service that was introduced after enactment of the Forest Act of 2005 in a bid to help increase forest cover and restore degraded forests in the country.
It's a program within Kenya Forest Service, within a forest management, that basically identifies that communities have a need. We in Kenya Forest Service have a need. It's not possible for us to go it alone when it comes to plantation establishment.
Since its introduction, more than 5,000 plantations are being restored annually.
Every year we are supposed to clear 5,000 hectares, and 5,000 will have been cleared the previous year and the other year. So we normally around 15,000 hectares.
The scheme has presented a silver platter to water catchment adjacent communities.
Imenisaidia, hakuna njaa nyumbani tena. Watu wanapata chakula tele.
Kulima tukipanda miche, tukipanda miti na pia tukipanda vyakula vyetu.
Wame benefit kwa sababu ile chakula itatolewa inamsaidia watoto waende shule na kujikimu kimaisha.
Watoto wetu sasa hawasomi hizi shule za hapa. Tunapeleka at least watoto shule ile ya maana kidogo, kwa sababu umetoa vitu zako kwa shamba, unauza na unapeleka mtoto shule.
The joint group members have been equipped with reforestation and restocking skills as the Environment Champions Agency raises the seedlings in the nurseries, while the community assists in planting and taking care of them.
Nimejifunza mambo ya kutunza miti na kuchunga.
Kama kutakuwa na nafasi ya kupanda miti, ile miti ambayo tumeipanda, community wanachunga.
Apart from taking part in protection, the Community Forest Association members also provide surveillance to forest rangers.
So mara nyingi tunawapatia information ya mtu yeyote ambaye labda anafanya kazi ambaye hairuhusiwi kwa misitu, labda kuchoma makaa ama kukata miti.
The CFAs have scouts to provide backup to foresters and rangers in going green.
Scout wa CFA wamekuwa kitusaidia sisi ni ku collect intelligence. Tembea huku na kuhakikisha kwamba msitu imelindwa vizuri na wanaleta hiyo ripoti.
Sisi kazi yetu kubwa ni kuwapa reports jinsi msitu inavyokuwa.
As the attainment of 30% recover by 2030 is in its earnest, the forest rangers have resulted in using technology in monitoring and global positioning systems, GPS, of endangered species in the forest.
So wanatumia hiyo mambo ya GPS, wanatutumia. So tukitoka pale at least tunalocate mali, tutajua ni mali wapi tunapata.
Human-based approaches which include negotiations, peaceful barazas, family unity, protection monitoring and advocacy, as well as interactions have been very instrumental in ensuring upward trajectory of tree cover.
Through CFA wakiwa mkutano yao, tunaenda wote kama in charge, forester, wale tunapewa nafasi tunawafunza. So tunaona hiyo inawasaidia.
So far, more than 146,000 hectares are under plantations, while natural forests occupy more than 2.5 million hectares. Even as we left Saboti Forest in Trans Nzoia County, we were all convinced that protection for natural regeneration and enrichment planting, coupled with collaboration between the Kenya Forest Service and the community, are very key in conserving of forest in the country. Reporting from Saboti Forest, I am Frederick Parsayo for KBC Channel 1.
Cheza Loto Moto. Sasa unaweza jishindia instantly na Loto Moto. Dial *570# wakati wowote, siku yoyote ya wiki na mahali popote. Dial *570#. Kisha chagua moja kati ya games za Loto Moto. Weka stakes zako 50 shillings, 300, 500, 2,000 shillings. The bigger your stake, the greater or the bigger your prizes. Cheza mara kadhaa na kumbuka, cheza responsibly. 18 years and above. Cheza Loto Moto.
Andiamo sulle tendenze.
그럼 편하게 대해주세요.
너 밥 한 끼 같이 먹었다고 어설프게 손 놓고 그러지 마. 촌스럽다 야 너.
뭡니까?
대검 중수부 부패관리 내사팀입니다.
그래서요?
부정 인력 채용 및 청탁 혐의로 압수수색 나왔습니다. Andiamo sulle tendenze.
아니 그럼 편하게 대해주세요.
너 밥 한 끼 같이 먹었다고 어설프게 손 놓고 그러지 마. 촌스럽다 야 너.
뭡니까?
대검 중수부 부패관리 내사팀입니다.
그래서요?
부정 인력 채용 및 청탁 혐의로 압수수색 나왔습니다.
Ujue ukilainika kidogo sote tuko shidani.
Hawa watu walionibia hizi pesa nikiwapata watakoma kuzalia.
So huu usiku ulipotoka, una uhakika hukumwona kumbe?
Itakuwaje ufanyikazi wako
awe na kuita kwa jina la malikia wangu, ili hali yeye ni mfanyikazi.
What you have done to me is despicable.
And what? Well, I think it's time for me to leave this house. Hello?
Who is dying, Fermina?
Alonso is dying in the hospital. He's dying, Remigio. Well, they just called to tell me Alonso is in the hospital in serious condition, Daddy.
I don't need another lover. I don't even have to bother. I'm sorry, but I'm leaving you. I never wanna see you again. Hello from the other side. I must have called 1,000 times to tell you I'm sorry.
لأجل ما يحقق أحلام ليلة السفر قعدنا نتكلم بالساعات قالوا لي بص قدامك ما تبصش للي فات.
Mini Allah uwe na imani, ngine falyastajibu li. Na wewe pia umuitikie Mwenyezi Mungu. Kumuitikia Mungu ni vipi? Ni wewe utende matendo mema aliyokuamrisha Allah na uache haramu. Isiwe unaomba dua kumbe unakula chakula cha haramu.
Baadhi ya masharti haya ni kama kumcha Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, kuepukana na makatazo ya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala na kumtegemea yeye peke yake, kumpwekesha katika ibada zako zote kama Muislamu.
I will never ever replace him. Never. You can just go back to where you came from and then come back when somebody else dies.
You're not the only one who lost a father, right? Is Mama Pauline?
No.
Do you have to be that nasty?
How much does she know?
And why didn't anyone tell Nick?
Who are we blackmailing? Don't walk with your face down, darling. As much as everyone is trying to put on a tough face right now.
We are tough.
My name is Krish Bejusha. I go to school in Martial Academy, Nairobi. I play golf as a sport, and I'm playing this for the series in the under 16 category.
You can actually use stories to try and explore your feelings. And that's why I feel so happy that I found this book. Sometimes I feel sunny.
Today I'm going to show you how to make the yummiest bubble donuts. They're tiny, small, yet so delicious.
Wiki hii kwenye Mkulima tuzungumzie kilimo kipya cha mnyama huyu konokono.
Maji tumefanyia utafiti tukapata kwamba ni maji ambayo yanaweza tengeneza baadhi ya bidhaa ambazo hutengeneza ngozi, pia hufanya ngozi irembeke, na zaidi kabisa pia inatumika katika utibabu wa baadhi ya magonjwa yanayohusu ngozi.
Jiunge nasi Jumamosi saa 10:30 hapa KBC Channel 1.
Andiamo sulle tendenze.
아니 그럼 편하게 대해주세요.
너 밥 한 끼 같이 먹었다고 어설프게 손 놓고 그러지 마. 촌스럽다, 야 너.
뭡니까?
대검 중수부 부패관리 내사팀입니다.
그래서요?
부정 인력 채용 및 청탁 혐의로 압수수색 나왔습니다.
Ujua ukilainika kidogo sote tuko shidani.
Hawa watu walionibia hizi pesa nikiwapata watakoma kuzalia.
So huu usiku ulipotoka una uhakika hukumwona kumbe?
Itakuwaje mfanyikazi wako awe na kuita kwa jina la malikia wangu, ili hali yeye ni mfanyikazi?
Wajua wale jamaa huwa ni kama majibu wa kunusa, huwa hawakosei.
What you have done to me is despicable.
And what? Well, I think it's time for me to leave this house. Hello?
Who is dying for me, Mina?
Alonso is dying in the hospital. He's dying, Remigio. Well, they just called to tell me Alonso is in the hospital in serious condition, Daddy.
Las Bandidas.
Kenya's health sector is undergoing tremendous challenges. This has been occasioned by low funding as well as a serious brain drain, with thousands of doctors and nurses leaving the country for better payment in the West. And this is likely to impact the attainment of universal health coverage as stipulated by the year 2030. And so the question is, what do we need to do to reinvigorate our healthcare system? Yesterday I was going through some numbers as they were released by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. And this is the Kenya Demographic Health Survey. And the numbers that we're talking about are quite appalling, because almost 75% of Kenyans do not have any form of insurance cover. The situation is actually worse in the rural areas, whereby more than 84% of the population do not have access to health insurance cover. And so the question is, what do we need to do to change these fortunes? Well, you're right on time for the scorecard. My name is O'Brien Kimani. We are live from Broadcasting House. Our team of experts are in the house. And of course, we are in the great company of Marie Yambo. She's about to take us through some jaw-dropping numbers on what the statistics are saying. And you know what we say here, numbers do not lie. Marie Yambo, what are the numbers talking about?
Indeed, O'Brien, numbers do not lie. And